All right, guys. Well, welcome back to Ironheart's Volume episode 4.
Correct. That was 8.
That was 8. Danny, already off to a great start.
Great start.
Confusing the shit out of me on a Saturday morning, as per usual. That's all right. Welcome back to episode 4. So we were meant to discuss this topic in episode 3,
Yeah,
and we just completely forgot because we had, other things that we just decided to talk about without thinking about this. But what we wanted to talk about this week was, this was on the back of us coming back off of vacation, right? We were going to give you a little bit of a rundown of how you can stay on track while you're on vacation, traveling, how to kind of create balance.
And how we create balance and what we do whenever we travel. So
yeah, how we prevent going overboard, but also enjoy the vacay. I mean, if you're just suffering the entire vacay as if it, you know what I mean, and thinking about everything, and you're in the back of your mind like, oh, I can't eat that. It's just like, it's not really a vacay. It's just, you know.
And I'll say this is probably one of the most common questions that we get from our clients. And I feel like it's sometimes I know some of my clients go into panic mode when they have to travel. They're like, oh my God, I'm going away. You know, what do I do? What do I pack? So hopefully this will help, everyone kind of understand the best approach, right, when traveling and trying to stay on track.
It either seems to be panic mode or they don't really panic until afterwards. And then there's this period of, I've undone all of my hard work. I've ruined everything.
Yeah.
I'm a terrible person.
I'm going to reel it back in.
Yeah, and we have to kind of go as like, no, you're not a terrible person. Like, you're allowed a vacation once in a while, but yeah, there are good things to do and maybe not so good things to do that will make the vacation and the aftermath of the vacation more balanced. So, I don't know if you want to dive right in.
Yeah, I was going to say, I guess let's start with, what does on track really mean, right? So when we say how to travel and vacation while staying on track, does that mean strictly tracking macros? Does it mean, training every day? Like, what does that mean to you when we're saying like staying on track?
I mean, for me, staying on track is, I don't know. I feel like it's a scale, right? It's like a spectrum. So,
and also I think it depends on the person.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't expect every individual to stay on track the way Danny and I stay on track, because we try to offset vacation weight as much as possible. We're just very, very active, and a lot of people are very active, but I think for a lot of people, vacation is a time to slow down, not obsess over food or training or things like that. So first things first, it's accepting what is the level of, tracking or being on track you're willing to accept while away without it compromising your enjoyment. Right?
Yeah.
Because again, going back to what I just said, if you're not enjoying your vacation, it's why go on the vacation in the first place?
Yeah.
So for us who are maybe on the more extreme end, we like to try and stay as, I wouldn't say that we're like super strict, but we try to set up variables to where we're kind of mitigating the damage that takes place while we're on vacation.
Yeah.
And then there are some individuals who just want to let loose completely, and you just have to be willing, I think, when you accept what the approach is going to be, the outcome of what that particular approach is going to be. Yeah. I don't know what is going on in the gym outside.
To like listen to you, but it sounds like someone just dropped a whole squat rack out there. So I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, it sounds like someone's having a wrestling match, and
should we be concerned?
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, what I was going to say before someone injured themselves outside the podcast studio. I think with vacation, it's about being flexible, but being intentional, right? So with us, I don't track in MyFitnessPal when I'm vacation, right? But, we are still intentional about what I'm eating. So and this is something that we always talk about when we're on vacation. It's like, we need to just hit our protein. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of probably the most important piece for us, I think, when we're in terms of just getting a sufficient amount of protein in, which can be sometimes a challenge depending on where you're traveling to, right? In terms of getting like good quality
food,
like
I would say I would say one of the hardest things is when you're in the process of traveling, is sticking on track, especially if you're flying, because the airline traveling system is designed to deprive you of all your means of hydration, all your means of high quality protein. I mean, you basically have to, if you really want to eat, fully on track, you just have to pack and freeze everything with you. And like, that's just not practical for many people. So I think, protein is the good place to start. And it kind of falls back to that sort of habit of, if someone has a real issue with tracking, this kind of holds true not just for traveling, but if someone maybe has an issue with tracking, we go with a kind of an intuitive eating approach where people start with a baseline of protein and then kind of expand from there as to filling in their other macros. You can do that on vacation too. But the first thing is, I think, figuring out how you're going to source the most healthy protein options available. Now, whether that's you take it with you or you figure out where you're going to eat ahead of time, while in transit, that's the other thing. Once you're where you're going, it's a little bit easier because you can scope out restaurants or grocery stores if that's something you want to do.
But I think, it goes back to, this depends on, where you are in your fitness journey. If you're a competitor and you're going away in the middle of a competition prep, well, then you need to be on track the whole time because you're prepping for a competition. But
or if you're traveling for a show, maybe you're traveling to Europe for somewhere else. So you basically have to just pack and carry everything or source out everything as if you were going to be eating the same meals that you were at home.
Yeah,
really.
And that, I think this is another question that we get a lot from our clients is like, I'm going away. What should I pack? So let's maybe talk about the things that we always take with us in terms of food, right? When we're going on vacay, and this can be a small vacay or it could be an international flight. It doesn't matter. I don't think this changes for us in terms of what we always pack. So number one would be what, Arian?
Protein powder for sure.
Ding, ding,
ding. Like a bag or a tub of protein powder, because if you're in a bind, it's just really easy to throw, and maybe a bag of oats. You got your proteins and your carbs covered there. And
we always bring oats. Or I bring my Australian wheat picks.
Yeah, I mean,
a box of cereal. Seriously pack cereal.
Whatever your grain of choice may be, just packing those, and you can throw them in a shake with some almond milk or milk, whatever you want to do. And you've got, protein and carbohydrates covered, especially if you don't know where your next meal's coming and you just have that to fall back on. I think that's probably one of the best approaches, I think, as far as just getting the basics in. Yeah.
I mean, that's what I was going to say. It's pretty much all. And then obviously we pack sometimes protein bars so that you're having that instead of the aeroplane, pretzels and cookies and stuff that they usually give out. So we always pack for the plane. We have our protein bars or protein treats, if you will. Sometimes if it's a short flight, I have packed before. Like a chicken and rice meal. You are allowed to bring your own food on the plane. I mean, you have to go eat it cold, of course, but you can bring pack meals on the airplane. The only thing you can't bring is anything like yogurt or overnight oats, although I did get it through once because the guy was like, you can't bring this because it's liquid.
I think it depends on who you get in security, because if it's gelatinous or semi-solid, I think you can get away with it. But if it's got any amount of liquid in it, they're just going to make you throw it out.
Yeah, but like I was saying, I got it through once because I was like, please, I'm competing and I need this meal.
Yeah, I don't know if that would fly these days. The level of security now in airports is bananas now, isn't it? So.
Oh, yeah. So pack your favorite protein and bring that with you, and oats or wheat picks as your carb source, and then having healthier choices for snacks on the actual airplane, or bringing your own actual meal is also a good idea.
We're not normally a big advocate for padding your protein with protein bars because they're highly processed. They don't generally do very well for digestion, but if you have no other choice and you're in a bind, that's certainly better than having a bag of whatever, vacuum sealed food that is being given to you on the plane.
The other thing we always travel with is our essential amino acids. So also just being hydrated on the plane itself. We always bring our big gallon jug bottles with us and then fill them up. And what the great thing is now? They have free bottle fill stations now in the airports. I didn't have to pay $8 for a small bottle of Smart Water. I could just fill it up for free.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I I don't like using communal stuff like that. Like
I don't care if I'm saving $20 on water. I
Yeah.
will use that. I will use that. It's filtered water.
yeah, I know. I don't know who's handled that water filter. To
This
be
is where
honest,
we're very different. I don't
Yeah.
care. I'm like, whatever. I'm
Just-
saving money.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think, just being smart about it, and then obviously not restricting yourself too much on the nutrition side of things when you're traveling. Obviously, you want to have a good time, and again, whenever we go out to restaurants, like going back to what I was saying, we're intentional about what we order. So we're not getting burgers and fries and pizzas and that every night, maybe once, but we're always ordering like chicken breast, or you're getting steak.
So I guess the transition from once travel is concluded and you're at your destination, this is the next, I guess, way to stay on track on top of that. So, I mean, for us at least, we try to obviously prioritize protein always. It's always going to come back to prioritizing protein. And then typically we eat lighter, less calorie dense foods earlier in the day. So for breakfast, it's, just trying to find a way to do eggs and egg whites at the breakfast buffet. And, again, you're going to have to get creative in some countries because they just don't have. When we were in Macedonia, Danny could not find toast anywhere in the country.
Oh, yeah.
So,
trying to get like sourdough or sourdough is completely out of the question. But trying to get at just toasted bread was such a mission.
they just don't toast their bread in Macedonia.
They don't toast their bread. And then also I had to go to a specific grocery store to try and find almond milk. What else? They don't do egg whites. They look at you like, what are you talking about?
Well, I think it's because that's a premium thing. Like, why would you separate the egg white from the yolk? That's a very bougie kind of, I would say, more economically developed country luxury, being able to separate egg whites from eggs. I mean, it's not from a practicality standpoint. It probably isn't even on their radar.
No.
This is a place where the breakfast is like coffee and a cigarette. You know what I mean? So you got to really see it in that perspective. Yeah,
I remember we went. So story time quickly to where we went to that breakfast in the morning, and it was inside this cafe, and I opened the door, and it was literally like. This big waft of just cigarette smoke.
Yeah.
This is at like 8:30 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah.
And I looked at it and I was like, absolutely not. Like we walked straight out, and then they wouldn't. Remember, they were like, oh, there's no tables outside. I'm like, yes, there are. There's 4 tables outside.
Yeah,
you're going to clean one, and we're sitting outside.
They
and
tried
even
to
then
BS us a little bit, but the interesting thing is that you didn't see anyone morbidly obese in Macedonia.
No,
I didn't see a single person overweight. I think maybe 2 people in like an assisted, in like a wheelchair. Do you know what I mean? Like people are just more active out there. They just walk everywhere. Even the elderly were just out first thing in the morning, just walking everywhere. So yeah, smoking works. Yeah, don't take that as
I said nobody works.
Oh, nobody works. Yeah, that was also a trip. But anyway, getting off topic. But yeah, if you can find ways to pad your protein in the morning with things like eggs and egg whites, again, maybe not in Macedonia, but in other countries, you should be able to access certain things.
Yeah. Or you have your protein as a backup, right? You can do oats and protein in the morning.
Yeah, that's what we did.
That's what we did, I think, towards the end.
We got like protein, like puddings from the grocery store, which is it's kind of like yogurt, but
pudding.
Not. Yeah, it's pudding. Yeah, I don't know how else to describe it.
It's kind of like yogurt, but it's not.
Yes, it's pudding.
It's pudding. Yeah.
But yeah, so prioritize protein, lean into whole food sources where you can. If you're going to consume a highly, calorically dense or processed meal, probably better to do that if you've been active throughout the day. So I guess that is the next thing is try and aim for high step counts. And I'm not talking like 3,000 or 4,000. We're talking like 10K plus, because you're not really going to be able to out eat heavy calorie dense meals if you're just sedentary the entire day.
Yeah, and I think most people are typically more active when they're on vacation because you're out exploring, you're doing touristy things, probably more so than when you would be at home, right? Because you'd be at work sitting down or
depends. Some people go to resorts and they're by the pool and they're 5 drinks deep by 11 a.m. But again, that's not everyone, I guess. But yeah.
I'm saying, I guess I can't say most people. But ideally, you'd be more active on vacation, walking around and, getting lots of steps in.
I would say most of the people we work with, because they're trying to
Because they have a goal.
Yeah, they have a goal to stay in shape. So yeah.
And I guess that's who's listening to this anyway. So for them, get your step count up.
Yeah.
And you guys shouldn't be drinking alcohol anyway, because that's just a waste of calories and feeling like shit the next day when you're in another country or another city or whatever it may be. But
no judgment if you do want to drink alcohol, but you have to understand that if you are going to drink alcohol, it's going to have a pretty negative effect on on pretty much everything.
On everything.
Your sleep, your insulin sensitivity, your nutrient partitioning, your energy levels, your mental health. I mean, maybe not for some people. You know, maybe they think it helps their mental health.
I don't know. I'm like, I just cannot deal with the hangover anymore. Like,
yeah, no, I can't.
It's just not worth it for me, especially when I'm on vacation. Like, to feel like crap when I'm like, I could just waste a whole day feeling.
There are some people that can just blow through that and go through it. I can't. I'm not.
Hair of the dog, as they say in Australia.
Hair of the dog.
Yeah.
Yes.
It just means you keep going the next day.
Yes, I am well aware of what it means.
Well, other people might not know.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so I guess talking about activity and stuff, it's funny because, people always ask me like, oh, are you still training when you're on vacation? But what do we always do before we book the hotel?
We always check the geographical how close the gyms are to the places that we're looking to stay.
Yeah.
So we basically book the hotel based on how close it is or the proximity
to the best gyms.
So
you find the gym first, then you find the hotel after that.
Then you find the hotel. And ideally, if you can find a hotel that's walking distance to the gym, that's even better because on vacation, sure, and we agree with this, you don't want the gym to occupy your entire vacation time. So the best way for you to go about this is to get up, have breakfast, be able to walk to the gym, walk back, have a shake, and then get on with your day. I mean, most days we were done pretty early in the morning, and then we spent the whole day doing family stuff and exploring and actually doing vacation stuff, but we didn't feel sluggish or weighed down because we'd already gotten our exercise out. So, mentally, I just felt so much better after we got a workout.
And that's a good point too. Like, when you're setting a routine here by going to the gym, and if it's important to you, and which it is for us, obviously, and hopefully as our clients as well, you can always find a gym that has a day pass that you can go to. Like, using the hotel gym is only if you are out in nowhere and there's no other gym anywhere else. And in which case, you do what you can, obviously, with what dumbbell exercises, I guess, or cardio. But
this is also relevant if you're someone who has to travel for work as well. A few of my people have to travel to different cities, different weeks, and now they have go-to gyms for those cities. Like, I'm in Chicago. I know the gym that I like to go to while I'm in Chicago.
Yeah.
I'm in this city this weekend. I know where I'm going to go. And if you make a point of just researching that ahead of time, it has a dramatic effect not only on how easy it is for you to continue showing up, but also your psychology around traveling, because you're not rushing around kind of panicking about trying to stay on track because you have a plan in place. What is it? Plan your work your plan.
That's it.
And if you do that, then, the challenges when they come up, they feel less overwhelming because you've at least got the fundamental stuff down,
Yeah. I mean, same thing. When I had to travel to Guadalajara for work, I checked because there's a usual hotel that they book us into, but I was like, there's no gyms around that hotel.
Yeah.
So I found a different one. I was like, can I stay here instead?
There was that cool bodybuilding gym down there that you found that had all the old Cybex.
Yeah, it was awesome. And it was literally tucked away in a corner. But I could walk there from my hotel.
They always are. All the best gyms are kind of tucked away. No one knows about them, or at least only the locals know about them.
So if you just search bodybuilding gyms, near me in that area, then usually that's a good way to go about it. But yeah, so I think, and then the other thing in terms of booking the actual hotel, we always try and find a hotel that has a kitchen so that at least we can, go to the grocery store and make our own food. Because, honestly, when we were in Macedonia, we were eating out a lot. And I had just come off competition. So obviously I was like, woo, woo, desserts, everything. Until I got to the point where I could not, my stomach was so bloated.com.
I
looked 4 months pregnant. It was insane.
There was a 3-day period where you couldn't do anything.
I
was like, you want to go? You're like, no, I can't eat. I can't.
Move.
I just need to just chill and just walk.
Horrible.
So I was like, cool. I guess I'm eating alone.
Yeah, I just couldn't. And then I was like, all right, that's it. I'm just going back to the basics. So I just went back to having, oats with the protein that I'm used to from home.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually, I was able to actually, I won't go into detail, but I eventually got better. So
I eventually got better, miraculously.
well, I don't want to, it's TMI.
No,
but,
I know. We all know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
for sure.
So yeah, it's good to have that option if you have a kitchen, because then you can kind of cook your own foods, things that your body is used to, instead of eating out all the time.
Yeah, or if you're in a country, I mean, some countries are really good for this. I know, like Thailand, Bali, Macedonia is a prime example.
Mm-hmm.
Like the cost of eating out is so affordable that you can actually
cheap.
You can just go to the restaurant and say, I just want chicken and rice, and
Yeah,
it will
that's
cost
what I
you maybe the equivalent of $3 American, which is like £2. And you're good to go. It's very, very affordable. And that, from a practicality standpoint, is just easier than getting the food and prepping it yourself. But if you're in a more expensive, I mean, when we were in Hawaii, a little bit different. We're not eating out 3 or 4 times a day in Hawaii, because we would literally spend, $700 a day if we were doing that.
Yeah.
It's really expensive. So you can find ways to save money.
Mm-hmm.
But it also, is a little bit...
Depends where you're going, basically.
Yeah, contingent on where you're going and staying, and the availability of those types of things. But if you have a kitchen, like the Airbnb that we stayed in, we were able to cook if we needed to.
Oh yeah, we did. We saved so much. Breakfast, doing that every morning, cooking it in the Airbnb versus having it out would have.
Yeah, we spent a fortune on coffee every morning though, because the coffee's really good.
Oh yeah,
Oahu, so there's that little coffee bar that we kept going to. And yeah.
Again, we're on vacay. But yeah, I think, just to summarize before we move on to the next segment part of this, but it's, still enjoy yourself, be flexible, but be intentional. Make sure that you're still, you're not going off the rails every single day, because you will feel like shit afterwards. Trust me, I've done it. I know, and it felt horrible. Make sure that you're staying active, your step count is up, and then, still try and do some sort of, weightlifting if you're going. It depends, again, how long you're going for. Obviously, we're going for 2 weeks, so there's no way we would take 2 weeks off training. If you're only going for a few days and you want to relax, that's a different story. Again, this is all very depending on context, but and I think the next part, which we want to talk about, is like, all right, you've come back. You didn't take the
You've ruined all your hard work. Yeah. You should probably just, quit now forever. Give up.
Yeah, I mean, have you had clients before who have gone away and then come back and been like, oh my God, I ate way too much. I didn't train. I've put on 20 pounds.
Yeah, I think in the past, but now I'm very mindful of pre-preparing them before they go on vacation. And this is something I wanted to bring up as well, is if you know you're going on vacation, it's a really good goal to aim for if you're trying to get in shape, is for a vacation, because no one wants to wear a t-shirt at the pool because they feel self-conscious. If you get to a point where you feel really, really good, where you're, months into say like a fat loss phase, and you're already way ahead of the curve in terms of how happy you are with your body composition. If you regress a little bit, it's not a big deal.
Right.
If you've gone, 70% towards your goal and you regress 10% over those 2 weeks, it's not a big deal, because you're still 60% ahead. So if you've gotten yourself to a place of conditioning where you feel really confident and happy, then you can afford to indulge a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing, is before you go away, like maybe earn the right to indulge a little bit.
Yeah.
Don't go on a vacation when you're already, sometimes it's unavoidable, but try not to go on a vacation when you're already feeling self-conscious and not happy about your physique, especially if you're going to be by the pool, and, that's the first thing. If you have completely come back off vacation and completely, I guess, messed it up or gone off the deep end, I mean,
I came back 9 pounds heavier.
How would you? Yeah, I mean, I don't think.
But
I don't
I dropped
think all
7
of that,
in the first week.
I don't think that was all body fat, and
No.
I think for someone who's a little bit more developed from a muscularity standpoint, it often isn't body fat.
Right.
Someone who maybe isn't as deep into their journey, you can accumulate body fat really quickly. So, how would you address? You're a little bit nicer than me about stuff like this, I feel like. So, how would you address it if someone came back off the? If they fell off the wagon and came back, how would you address it?
I always say, okay, well, what's done is done, first and foremost. There's no point in, beating yourself up over it. Learn from it, obviously, right?
Certainly no benefit to shaming someone or being
exactly. It's like, okay, cool, you had a good time, whatever, it's done. But we just get back on track, right? It's not about, punishing yourself or starving yourself when you get back or doing all this extra stuff, in a way of like trying to make things work quicker, because it doesn't work like that.
Trying to balance the scales by hyper restricting is not the way to go.
Yeah, so I was just saying, okay, cool. Like, you had a great time. Okay, you recognize that this is where we're starting from, but let's just get back on the plan. That's it. Like, go back to tracking your macros, hydrating, getting extra steps into that first week really helps, just to get rid of some of that inflammation from flying and traveling and things like that. Like, walking is going to be your best friend for the next week. But nothing crazy. Like, literally just like getting extra steps in, hydrating, and getting back to tracking your macros, obviously going back to training, but just getting back on the plan and, thinking about, well, what could I have done better? Like, I mean, I did the same thing when we went. I was having 2 desserts maybe.
I think on some nights you had 3 desserts.
No, stop
she was like convincing people to order different desserts so she could partake of each of them, which is fine. But the other thing is, if you've come back a little bit heavier, you're going to be stronger. So
use that.
Focus on how much stronger you are in the gym. I mean, doesn't necessarily mean that you've gained a ton of muscle from eating like a moron, because, you're just going to have greater leverage because you're heavier and you've got all that intramuscular and intracellular triglycerides like making you stronger, from all the food that you've eaten. But, leverage that additional strength and enjoy being big and strong for a couple of weeks before you get back to baseline.
Yes.
That's always a nice feeling, even if it doesn't necessarily translate or equate directly to to muscle gain. But yeah, there's that too. Look at the positives, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Look at the bright side. You had a great time. You ate like an asshole, and now you got to go. Which I did, and I have no regrets, because I loved every single one of those desserts that I ate, and I don't do it often when I'm home. So
and I think the other thing is that it's a period of time after, if you've been working really hard, or you've been putting the work in throughout the year, and then you just kind of fall off for a couple of weeks, it's not the end of the world. You'll get back on track. You're certainly not back where you started when you started your fitness journey. If you've been working at this for more than like a couple of weeks, then you're already still ahead of where you started by probably months, maybe even years. So let it go. It's fine.
Yes, and just enjoy yourself. Exactly. So, all right. Anything else in terms of... The only other thing I was going to mention too, another thing that I travel with is my booty bands, mostly for being in long flights, because I have my hip issue and stuff, but it's just literally at the back of the plane. If I can get up and get circulation going by just using the bands, they're great for that, and they're really easy to travel with. So I always travel with my booty bands. That's probably the only time I use them, when I'm traveling. But yeah, they're a really good thing to have in your travel bag.
I'm trying to think if there's anything kit-wise that I travel with other than the standard stuff, like
we always bring our
Versa grips.
Versa grips. I always bring my knee sleeves, because these knees ain't 20 anymore. Gloves, obviously, we travel with.
Trying to think if there's anything else, really. I'm sure there's stuff that'll come to us later on.
And then we'll be like, oh, well, we forgot to mention that. But
yeah, the biggest thing is just to remember, really, the whole point of going on vacation or having some time off is to decompress and allow some of that, mental and physical fatigue that's accumulated to dissipate, so that you can come back refreshed. So if you're going to hit the ground, running when you get back, try to set yourself up for success coming back. You don't have to push the boat out to the point where you have to spend a month. I was going to say, try not to push the boat out to the point where you have to spend a month undoing all of the damage that you've done, but try and strike a balance, because if you hyper restrict, you're going to get back and you're not actually going to feel like you had a vacation, and then you're just going to be, I think, less likely to be compliant with your plan when you get back, because you just don't feel like you've had a break at all.
Yeah.
So that would be the other big takeaway. If it's just all or nothing all the time, you just never really get a break, and it's that's no way to live. It's not really living, to be honest, is it?
No. So so just in summary, like we said, I think just when you're traveling, everything just doesn't go out the window. Still have a good time, be flexible but intentional. If you can find a gym nearby and get a guest pass, do that. bring your protein with you in case, you're in a bind for, hitting your protein goal. But
yeah, step count is probably your best tool, the best tool in your arsenal to offset fat gain. Just walk everywhere,
Yeah.
Sightsee, take in the sights.
Yes. And, and above all, have a bloody good time, mate.
Yeah, that too, if you can.
Yeah. Well, just don't obsess over it, right?
Yeah,
I think
you're
some
not
people just
fixating on
they
stuff too much.
fixate and they obsess like, oh my God, I'm going away. I don't want to ruin it. It was like, just relax, enjoy yourself, get your steps up, eat good food, maybe skip dessert every other day and you'll be all right. Unless you're me then.
She doesn't believe that at all. Skip dessert every other day.
Well, no, but I'll if I am having dessert, I'll have like a smaller dinner meal or lunch meal because I know I'm going to have dessert that night.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
All right, guys, on that note, I guess it's time to end this one. Thanks for tuning into Danny's Food Confessions. I guess that was episode, what?
That was
4?
Episode 4, and
so
we'll see you for
episode 5, where I think we're going to have the interesting conversation around being natural or enhanced. And Danny's gonna tell a little story about that. I'm going to sit back and enjoy that.
Yeah.
All right, guys, see you next time.
Bye.